David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another fountain pen review. One of the things that I enjoy doing here on this channel is highlighting individual artisans and sharing with you their quality and unique work. Today, I have for you a pen from the Desiderata pen company called the Vulcan. What I'm going to do today is go over a bit about the man behind the brand, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about the pen. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. Thanks go out to Pierre at Desiderata for providing this pen on loan for review. Now, for this channel, this review will set a record for the longest period of time between reviews from the same company. Back in December of 2015, I reviewed the Desiderata Daedalus. Now, it was my 11th video I ever posted, so things were a bit different back then. It was my first ever video with lights. Now, they weren't very good lights, but prior to then, I had just shot using natural light, which looked terrible. For some reason, I thought it would be interesting to have my computer monitors on behind me. I was going to have like a different background each week. Bonus points if in the comments you can tell me the location of this picture. I took it myself. The Chargers were still in San Diego, which is why I had my little football behind me. Now the Chargers are dead to me. And then on top of that shelf there, at the time, that was my entire ink collection, maybe about a dozen bottles. Now I have 2 entire cabinets filled with ink. And finally, you can tell the video quality wasn't hot as well. But as I've said many times, when you're just getting started, you work with what you have until you find your voice and figure things out. This past October was the 9-year anniversary of this channel, so next October I'll need to figure something out to do to celebrate 10 years of creating content. We'll see what that could potentially be. Over the years, I think I've been able to come a long way in regard to this channel, and I feel I've improved the content as well as improved the production quality. In regard to the Desiderata Pen Company, I feel that they have come a long way as well. I'll show you that Daedalus during the size comparisons, but it was a flex pen with a Zebra G nib, which is how Pierre Miller, the gentleman behind the Desiderata Pen Company, got his start. Pierre is an interesting man. He is based out of the Chicago area. He has degrees in both chemistry and music and is an accomplished pianist. In regard to his pens, while he began with the flex pens, he has expanded his offerings since then. Everything from his workshop is handmade manually without CNC machines. Not that CNC machines are evil, it's just how Pierre has chosen to work. He even machines his own ebonite feeds. And I'll show you here in a bit, but he even created his very own large capacity converter. When you purchase a pen from Desiderata, you are certainly buying a piece of Pierre. If you happen to attend a pen show where he has a table, I'd highly recommend spending some time with him. He's a fascinating man to speak with. He has a natural curiosity and is highly interested in customer feedbacks and how you feel that he can improve his product. Speaking of his product, let's actually take a look at a pen. This is the Desiderata Vulcan. The pen is made from diamond wood, which is a lamination of very thin veneers, typically birch, which is then infused with resin to create a sturdy and durable wood product. I asked Pierre about the Vulcan name. I asked if he was a fan of Star Trek or if it referred to the Roman god of fire as well as metalworking, and the answer was neither. It's named for Vulcan, the phantom planet that some pre-20th century astronomers thought existed in an orbit between Mercury and the Sun. But the planet was named after the Roman god, so there's a bit of a circular reference going on there. Okay, let's start by taking a look at the top of the cap. It is rounded. This transitions into the clip, which of course is custom and handmade. This is an area where over the years I feel Pierre has improved his production quality. Years ago, his first clips had a bit of a bent paper clip look to them, but this iteration, like I said, in my opinion, is an improvement. It's a bit thicker. It has a nice ball on the end. I like the little flare at the base, and it has a unique curvature. The cap angles up slightly before straightening out. At the end of the cap, there is a wide black metal band. Then there is a medium-sized step down to the barrel. On the barrel, it is engraved with the company, as well as the name of the pen and the year it was produced. And as I said earlier, the company is based out of the Chicago area. Fun fact, Pierre lives on the same street as Wrigley Field. Now that street is very long and he lives several miles away from the stadium, but it was fun to learn that he at least lives on the same street. The barrel tapers down and at the end comes to a very slight rounded tip. The cap twists off with 1.5 rotations. Now, something I feel could be improved upon is the ebonite section makes contact with the threads. Let me hear, you can hear this. You can kind of hear that. It makes contact with the thread and a portion of the barrel as you're capping and uncapping the pen. Especially since it's making contact with the threads over time, that might cause some unintended wear on either the flare of the section or the threads themselves. Under the hood, we have a number 6 stainless steel nib engraved with the company logo. This pen is available in a wide variety of tippings. This specific one here is an italic nib that Pierre ground and tuned himself. And I'll show you how it performs during the writing sample. This section is custom made from ebonite and begins with a prominent flare before angling up to a small step up to the threads and then a smooth transition to the remainder of the barrel. While the cap does fit on the end of the barrel, it's not secure, so this pen is not designed to post. That's fine. I typically don't like to post wooden pens in fear of marking up the barrel. I also do find that the metal band on the edge of this cap is a bit on the sharp side, so that might have felt uncomfortable if it rubbed up against your palm. So it's good that this pen is plenty long enough to use unposted. I mentioned this previously, but this pen has a permanently affixed converter. And I find this fascinating, but Pierre builds these converters from scratch. The piston knob here on the back is ebonite, and it's wider than a standard converter, so it has a higher ink capacity. And I won't twist it right now because it's inked, but the twisting mechanism is decently smooth as well. It's little touches like this that I enjoy about individual artisans. I don't know of anyone else out there making their own converters. And this is a quality converter at that. The Desiderata Vulcan can be found on the Desiderata website. I'll put a link to it in the notes below. While as of this taping, there are not units with this diamond wood available, there are some others made from an ebony wood, which have a nice mixture of light and dark wood. The retail price for these pens is $299.92. With an unusual price point like that, I just had to ask Pierre about it. You can't price something like that without it piquing my curiosity. And quite simply, the only reason it's priced with 92 cents is for the symmetry. 29992. Wait, 29992. Yeah, maybe I put an extra 9 in there, which is kind of silly, but I enjoy silly things like that. And in regard to the value you receive for that price, I feel it equates with other custom makers out there on the market today who are producing somewhat similar products. And there are a couple of things I would change, sure, but overall it's a quality offering and I enjoy supporting and highlighting individual craftsmen that you might have never heard about. Okay, now it is time for some measurements, size comparisons, and a writing sample with this custom stub italic grind. So here we have the Desiderata Vulcan. To begin with, I wanted to show you what the Daedalus looks like. And this was one of his original pens that it was made out of Durham, and it has a zebra G nib, which is a big flex nib on there. And so if you, and he still does some, Pierre does do a number of pens with these zebra G nibs. And so if flex writing is something you're interested in, then you might want to check out his site to see what offerings he has of those. But this is what it looks like in comparison. And then in comparison to a couple of other wood pens, this is one of my favorite from Ryan Krusak. This is the ebony heartwood sapwood, and I just love the line in here. This is not two separate pieces of wood. This is one piece of wood, and this is just the line in the wood where it contracts from the black to the white. And then here we have a pen from Rockster, and this is called the Daydreamer. And this is a burl infused maple where there is some resin that is infused inside the maple, and it just looks amazing. And that's what it looks like in comparison to the Desiderata. In regard to a couple of other wood pens, this is another Daydreamer that I have with that burled maple, but this one in blue. I just think that those turned out amazing from Rockster. And then we have a pen from Pens by Casey. This is a Northern Silky Oak. And then finally, we have a custom pen, which was made for me by Hooligan Pen Company, which is the tribute to the movie Shawshank Redemption. And I have a review of this. This is just an amazing custom pen. We can see here that it says Brooks was here on the front, and so was Red. But the amazing thing is this piece of wood, because this is actual wood from the actual tree from the Shawshank Redemption movie. There was a storm that actually took down the tree in real life, and so they were able to sell some of it. But this is wood from the tree that's in the movie, which makes it that much more special. But that's what it looks like in comparison. In regard to uncapped comparisons, here it is with the Rockster Daydreamer, and then here it is with the Pens by Casey Northern Silky Oak, and then here it is with the Ryan Crusack with the Ebony Heartwood Sapwood. So here we go with the writing sample for the Desiderata. And this is the Vulcan. And we'll say this is a stub italic grind. And the ink that I'm using is from Robert Oster. And it is Admiral Blue. This is what the ink looks like. It's a nice vibrant blue with a bit of shading to it. This is what it looks like with KWZ's Azure number 4, which is a bit more saturated. And then here it is with Private Reserve's Naples Blue, which is a bit more saturated as well. This is what the bottle looks like. And this was an exclusive from Galen Leather. So if you want to check this ink out, you'll need to go to the Galen Leather site. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. Okay, with this italic stub, let me see if you can get up really close to that. You can see that it does have a stub nib to it, but then it is slightly angled as well. Maybe get a better look at it here from underneath. So you can see that it angles down from the right down to the lower part on the left. And that, you know, you're not going to get lots of flex out of this stainless steel nib. That's not what this grind is meant for. You're not going to get lots of flex that way. But what you'll see is there'll be a thicker line up and down, and then a thinner line when you're going from left to right. In regard to the ink flow, I'd say it's a bit on the medium side with this particular nib, and reverse writing isn't really what it's meant for, but it actually does it very well. And then in regard to some fast writing, you can see how it adds a bit of flair to your writing with it being a little bit effortless. And the feed keeps up just fine. So there we have the Desiderata Vulcan. I strongly recommend you checking out the Desiderata site, and especially, like I mentioned before, if you happen to be at a pen show where Pierre is attending, then make sure you stop by and say hi. He's a really interesting person to speak with. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.